All right, welcome, revelers. This is Off the Rails. All right, welcome, revelers. This is Off the Rails, Right versus Left, the podcast that we do because we think the left is evil. I'm Rob B.
And I'm Brad Lee.
And I'm Brian G.
And we are Off the Rails, Right versus Left. Again, we're doing this show because we think everybody needs to know that the left is evil.
Classic.
Welcome, everybody.
Well, we gotta update that.
Yeah, no doubt. That's an old one. We gotta at least update that audio. But the whole gang's back together. I'm Rob B.
I'm Brad Lee.
And the one that we can't see because he's on the move. And maybe he died. I don't know. He pulled
Brian G.
So he pulled a Biden. So anyway, so hopefully he can still hear us. We had him, but looks like we might have lost the connection. But anyway, so welcome to the show. Obviously, there's going to be crazy stuff going on in the news between now and November. So we'll touch a little bit on that, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Constitution and originalism versus the
non-originalism,
the Democrat reimagination of the Constitution.
Yeah, because it's a living document. Did you know that?
Well, it is a living document in that they made it possible to amend it. If they want the Constitution to say something else. Well, we'll get into that in that segment a little bit later on. But first off, like the big news, of course, after the absolute browbeating that she took in Congress, Cheatle actually quit. So, I mean, it's kind of like, bye, Felicia. Like,
they laid the smack down.
Yeah, I can't imagine anybody caring. Yeah, there's Brian. He's in there.
You could remember my name there, buddy?
Yeah.
Coming to you live from the eye.
He's just so excited that he's got his studio. He doesn't know what to do with himself right now.
Yeah, dude, my studio's dope. The computer's dope. Like designing the merchandise is like fun as hell. Like loving it all, dude.
He's like, I need to go to work for CNN.
Yeah, so speaking of that merch down at the bottom, that's the merch shop. It's geared towards my gaming shop, but we are going to be starting to get some more of the Off the Rails podcast stuff in there also. Also want to make sure that you guys know we do have the feed up for any comments that you guys want to make. We're going to see it. And I finally got my dual monitor system set up here, so if anybody's messaging over on Rumble, I'll be able to interact with you guys on Rumble as well. So, but yeah, the www.warmongershop.store. You can go by there, get some cool merch, and that helps us out as we're trying to grow this little thing that we're doing here. So, anyway, so Cheatle, guys, question.
Yo,
do you think she quit because she realized she's incompetent?
I think she had no choice but to quit. I think they laid the smack down on her so damn hard that she still has whiplash.
Okay, but so if you notice, she kept insisting that she didn't think she needed to resign. She didn't think she needed to resign. And one of the last senators, I forget who it was, one of the last senators to say it was going, was this a conspiracy by the government to kill Donald Trump?
No, I think they made it perfectly clear. Yeah. I think they made it so clear to her that she will either resign or they will force her out some way or another. I don't think they gave her a choice.
No, I don't have the clip because I was a little busy setting stuff up earlier. I didn't get a chance to make any clips.
Well, man, Marjorie Taylor Greene, AOC.
Yeah, I actually gave AOC a compliment on Twitter yesterday.
Yes, you did.
So
I wouldn't have.
I said, congratulations, AOC, for the first time in your political career, you actually sounded intelligent.
I don't think she did, though. I don't think she did. That was way undeserved. No, I mean, she made sense. I don't think she sounded intelligent when she was making sense, but Here's my deal with this
flicks.
Cheatle. Oh yeah, absolutely. This is my deal with Cheatle. She realized that she has no support at all whatsoever. Mayorkas said that he believes in her 100%. Now, is he going to come back on that now that she resigned? But I think what she found out is there was nobody that was going to take her back and that she was the patsy and she needed to get out now while she could without having to do any time.
Oh yeah, they made it clear she had to get out, or she was not going to survive that what was coming her way.
Yeah, well, I think
Not
And she was
physically, but,
apparently under the impression that people had her back.
Yeah.
So my question here is: was it negligence or criminal conspiracy? You know me, I love a conspiracy theory.
We need to get Mayorkas in there. We need to get the FBI in there. We need to leadership has to change. But
Mayorkas has been in front of Congress weekly for 3 years.
I know.
Said anything.
Well, we definitely
we
need more evidence. We need more evidence. I mean, it's all pointing towards negligence, and I can see how every conspiracy theory has come up. I mean, it's insane. They didn't have any drones up watching areas where they couldn't have people. I mean, the latest coming out is that there was somebody assigned to the roof, but it was so hot they decided to go inside. There was local police that were assigned outside the perimeter of that building, but it was so hot they went inside. That's what's coming out. It's
the building. The building next to that roof, though, if you watch Dan Bongino's show this morning, next to that roof would the sloped roof where the sniper took. There's a building with a window that looks right out to the roof where the sniper shot from. So it's like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, just the whole thing stinks from hell to high water.
Well, like I say, I can see how the conspiracy theories are coming out.
That's exactly what.
Brian, you said something that I kind of want to understand your perspective on, because you said that it looks like it was incompetence. Nothing that's come out looks like incompetence to me. It looks intentional to me.
No, I said it looks like it definitely incompetence. It definitely looks. I could see how somebody could totally look at it as incompetence, intentional, whatever. We need more. We just need to see where all the evidence leads us. I'm not going to say one or the other until we know everything. But just how there was nobody. I mean, Secret Service in the end are the ones that are in charge, and they take responsibility for everything, even if they don't have the manpower, and they say, okay, local police, you are in control of this. This is your area. But Secret Service still needs to make sure that they're doing their job and doing what they're supposed to be doing to cover that area. So if they had people assigned to that roof in the local police or the perimeter around that building, it's still Secret Service that is responsible for making sure that it is actually covered. So it is incompetence. It is, I could see how you could totally look at it as intentional, because why was there nobody on that roof? I mean, people are yelling. They knew an hour before, it sounds like.
Yeah, and then right there what you're saying,
there was a threat.
Right there what you're saying, Brian. And right there what you're saying, the Secret Service should not have allowed Trump to get on the stage.
Yeah.
They should have been on hold.
When it went, even as not a threat, but the lower level, they still should have cleared it out before he came out. But when it became a threat, a known threat, I can't remember if it was 10 minutes before or 2 minutes before, they should have, before he was on stage, they said they should have held him in the holding room that they have for anyone they're protecting until it was cleared. They should have kept him there until that threat was no more a threat. Dan Bongino said the same thing. Exactly.
That's why we're saying that, because it makes.
Well, no, it totally makes sense that it's intentional, but I'm not willing to say that officially until they actually give us all the evidence and we see that, okay, yes, it was definitely intentional and not just gross negligence.
Okay, so I got a couple different whatabouts. Okay, so what about the fact that they presented two different angles of attack for the sniper for where he was positioned on the roof? Okay.
Two different. What do you mean? Two different angles.
Two different diagrams showing the angle that the shooter was shooting at. Okay. So what about the guy in the gray suit that nobody's identified who he is, that went up on the roof and checked that the guy was dead before anybody was allowed to get up there on the roof? Any law enforcement? Who was that guy?
So what was he doing? I haven't heard anything about the. Like I said, I'm driving all the time, so I only get little bits and I listen to podcasts, but I don't know anything about.
Dan Bongino said something about it, and we have no answers about that guy. And that's what Dan Bongino said too. And Dan Bongino isn't going to like jump on something until he knows for sure what had happened. It's a complete colossal failure, but
was he just checking if the guy was dead, or was he removing evidence from the body?
Well, we would like to assume that he's just checking to see if the guy's dead, but he could have been taking evidence. Who knows? Who knows at this point?
Is that where Lauren Boebert's line of questioning came in? When they're asking her about the fucking shell casings? Because I'm like, what's the big deal? And like, why is she hiding? She said that the FBI told her that she knew how many shell casings were up there. But when they asked her, she said that she deferred to the FBI. I'm like, but they already told you, so now you can. But the reason, because they want to know.
Yeah, it looked like in other video, it looked like there was somebody up on the water tower providing overwatch, or was that a second sniper? How many shell casings were up there? Were there the eight shell casings that matched the 8 shots, or were there additional shots taken from another position?
Well, kind of like the guy on the grassy knoll.
Well, I mean, it's
that's what I was just gonna say.
No.
But well, I mean, but that one's different. Like, I mean, the theory for there being a single gunman in the Kennedy case depends on a magic bullet bouncing around.
Yeah.
I mean,
hit like deflected like what 5 times into different angles.
Yeah, exactly.
Throughout his body. Yeah.
I mean, I fired off a lot of rounds. I've never had any of my bullets do magic shit. Like, I wish I did, but I don't.
You know, I'm an Alaskan. I have a ton of guns. I've done tons of shooting. I've never seen that.
Okay, and then the other question: who was the woman who was standing behind Trump that raised up the sign right before the shots were fired?
Looking in that direction.
Made a move. Everybody else was at least crouched.
Wasn't
didn't do anything.
One of the assistant? Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, they're saying that that's not her, but I don't know where that lady was. The Giuseppe, the deputy assistant,
assistant director.
Yeah, the assistant deputy director. So but they are also finding that there was somebody with a cell phone visiting the shooter's house that was also visiting the area of the FBI headquarters.
Well, he had a second cell phone at the house that had a bunch of other calls on it that they're looking into.
Yeah, but there's literally somebody who goes over by the FBI headquarters visiting their house. Well, who the hell could that be? Because it wouldn't be friends of his parents. Why would that's a couple psychologists or counselors be visiting like what's probably an FBI safe house? Sounds more to me like an FBI operative dropping stuff off at the safe house before going and reporting in.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How many Saturday nights did you spend at home with your parents?
You mean after I was like 10?
Well, 20 years old. 20 years old. 20 years old. How often were you at home hanging out with your parents on a Saturday night at 20 years old?
From 20 years old, it was about 6 years before I was around my parents on a Saturday night.
Well, you know,
all right, okay. So why did your parents ever call the cops and say that they were worried that you were going to do something?
Yeah.
Nope. And
because you weren't there.
So then
on a Saturday night at 20 years old.
So, and then I have another question. Have you guys ever done firearm certification courses?
Yes.
No, I've never done a certification course.
Of course, I was in the United States military.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
so
you definitely.
if you have a gun, you're responsible for securing your gun, because if somebody's like killed with it, you're liable. Why haven't his parents been charged?
Well, they did that to that kid up in Wisconsin or Michigan or whatever.
Yeah, but he knowingly gave his gun to his son.
Well,
and in Pennsylvania, isn't it against the law for a kid to be in possession if they're under 21?
Dude, yeah, I don't know. Because they hunt in Pennsylvania. You have to Poconos.
I don't know the law there.
I don't know the law either.
It's still early.
Check it out, Rob. You're right there. You got the access.
But anyways,
there's going to be a huge investigation, but it only took.
Could still be charges.
Dude, it only took a week for them to decide to charge the parents of that fucking shooter up in Wisconsin or Michigan or wherever it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Remember that mass shooter, and his parents gave him the pistol.
Yeah, no, they were.
You shouldn't have had a pistol in the first place.
Hold on.
Yeah, but that was
talking that the parents might be charged. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
did get
finally
charged.
Did, but yeah, they finally did. Yes. I'm just saying. Yeah, they were talking about the parents could.
Well, I think they were
be charged for have charges brought against them early on. And now
I like Brian speaking in like this. This is awesome. Usually he's the quiet one.
Shit.
Well, I know too. That's why I was saying that you guys are talking over each other because I like having Brian talk. So I think he's getting more sleep nowadays since he's not working at night anymore. So he's actually awake and coherent and able to put together a sentence, unlike Biden.
I don't sound like Biden anymore.
No. Sorry. Sorry to disappoint you, brother.
Man.
Hey, I want to say one thing that Dan Bongino brought up the other day. Okay. It was the person who shot the shooter. It was a Secret Service sniper team. He was 400 yards away. He had to shoot through a tree, through a small window, and hit the guy with one shot.
Right.
I'm like, that is freaking impressive, dude. that is awesome.
That's almost as impressive as taking a shot to the ear and getting back up.
Yeah. I mean, but this guy, man, that's impressive. Through a tree, through a window, hit the guy 400 yards away. Damn.
It's almost as impressive as this.
Yeah.
So no, like the 150 yards with a good hunting rifle, that's a chip shot. So,
easy.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So the basic scopes, as long as
the guy that attempted to assassinate Trump was a shitty shot.
No, he took a perfect shot. It's just Trump turned his head at the perfect second for it to miss his skull.
That is true. That is true.
It would have went straight through the side of his head.
Yeah, the back of his head would have been blown out.
There wouldn't even be if Trump didn't turn his head, we wouldn't even have the discussion of the guy being a bad shot. It would have been, my God, that was a perfect shot. Trump turned his head.
It was a perfect shot.
Yeah.
Trump has a horseshoe up his ass.
Hey, Brad, did you hear?
No, he was touched by the hand of God.
Okay, let's not get ridiculous. God didn't touch his hand and then let the hero firefighter get shot in the head.
No, that's exactly what happened. God was like, look, you need to look at this immigrant board because now's not your time. Now is Corey's. Yeah. And after this, you're going to lift Corey up on a platform and you're going to fucking make it about him instead of you. And then you're going to win a bunch of votes from people that wouldn't normally vote for you.
Hey, Brad,
that's exactly what happened. It was ordained.
Did you hear Bongino talking the other day that when he had when he was down on the ground and he had that rangefinder to scope out the area, there's theories, and he's made very clear it's a theory that he was looking for a mass casualty incident because he thought it would be too hard to get a shot at the president. And then when the police started narrowing in on him because they knew about him, that he found a way onto the roof, which was by the AC, and that's when he found the easy shot on Trump. But he was planning a mass casualty because he thought it was too hard to hit Trump. But that's one theory, just a theory that's out there.
Really, my theory is
the latter theory was a theory.
They tried to take out Trump because he's going to win the election. That didn't work, so now they're taking out Biden in the hopes that they can beat him because all they did was made him stronger yet again.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that one, but it is definitely a plausible theory, and I could definitely easily see how that could be true. But we don't know.
Well, there's some really wild conspiracy theories going out talking about how they're gonna kill Donald Trump and Kamala and Joe Biden at the same. I'm like, dude, you guys, because my in-laws are talking about it, and I love them to death, and I'm like, you guys need to stay off the boards. I'm like, that's not gonna happen. I'm like, remember Hillary Clinton was supposed to be arrested fucking a long time ago, and I can still. No, dude, stop. Just stop. This Q stuff you got to stay off the boards.
Like the QAnon stuff, but you gotta admit the QAnon shaman was hilarious.
I got on the Q website and I looked at the stuff, but I was like, okay, well, their first post was Hillary Clinton will be arrested at this time, blah blah blah. So I was like, okay, this is a farce, but let me see what's going on here. And I started looking at it too. I'm like, okay, some of this stuff is credible, some of it's not, some of it's just completely outlandish, but
yeah.
I didn't understand why people were so addicted. I'm like, dude, no, you can't really believe that that they're sucking the fucking adrenochrome out of fucking kids and shit. Okay. I'm like,
so I just want to point out one thing, okay? Carter, Bush, Obama, Clinton, combined 19 wars, no shots fired at them. Donald Trump, 0 wars. They tried to kill him.
Started, yeah. Peace in the world, mostly.
This is weird because there's not going to be a Bush or a Clinton on the ticket this go round, right?
Well,
yeah, Bush, Clinton, or there's been a Bush, a Clinton, or a Biden on every ballot since 1976.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, no,
that's ridiculous.
Rob, I think I mentioned this earlier to you, and I thought it was interesting how you and I were talking about what Trump should tell the people holding American hostages. That if I was Trump, I would tell them, you have 2 days until I'm in office, and if they're not free, you're going to have some serious consequences. You're going to be paying the price.
Israel is going to have a glass parking lot.
Well, that's just funny because I actually last night I got a chance.
I think it would be a swimming pool.
I got a chance to watch his speech at the National Convention, which I hadn't watched at that point. And in the speech, about an hour and 17 minutes into it, he says to anyone holding American hostages, if they're not released when I get into office, you are going to pay some serious consequences. And I'm just like, damn, you and I just said that earlier.
Okay, so but the reality is, like, Trump has promised a lot of people a lot of serious consequences, and when he went into office last time, not a lot of consequences were handed out. So, I mean, I hope that these people start seeing consequences. And like everybody talks about, Brian, you're not even coming through anymore. You sound like you're getting down with a robot. So anyway, so so I hope the whole like Democrat paranoia about Trump getting revenge. Well, for one, he said that the revenge was going to be being successful. But
I'm like, that's what you like.
What is the revenge they're worried about? Getting convicted of the crimes they actually committed, and for the media getting it exposed how completely corrupt and crooked they are, so they can't hold out their facade of being news. That's what they're talking about when they say they're worried about Trump getting revenge. It's not revenge. It's justice that they're afraid of, not revenge. So
you're basically saying that he's already been president and he didn't do it.
Yeah. So we'll see. I hope he puts Dan Bongino in charge of the
Head of security.
In charge of what?
I like him.
Yeah.
The Department of Justice. I think he'd be better served in the Secret Service, but
bro, Department of
I
Justice,
still like
he'd still be over the
DeSantis.
Secret Service.
I still like
Is it
DeSantis in
Homeland
charge
Security?
as the Attorney General.
Oh yeah,
in
you're right.
Charge
Homeland
of the Justice
Security.
Department.
That's why they're going after Mayorkas.
I still like DeSantis to clean up the Justice Department.
Well, yeah.
I'd be okay with DeSantis.
Yeah.
Because
but I would like DeSantis to finish off his term in Florida and get Florida taken care of before he goes into Trump's cabinet. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, but everybody knew that they figured he'd be becoming president. But when Trump decided he was going to run again, like it was obvious it was always going to be Trump. But
I still wish it was DeSantis.
I don't. Like
yeah.
His actual campaign was completely unimpressive. I think he's a good administrator, but I don't know that he's that great of a leader. You get what I mean?
One hell of a president. I think he would have been one hell of a president, but you know.
So I can't wait.
He still may be. What? He's not going to die.
Yeah. I think JD Vance is kind of the future of the party right now. It looks like, but we'll see how he does as VP.
I think Vance.
Well, there's gonna be another primary in 4 years, so.
Yeah.
I think Vance, Vivek, that would be a great ticket.
Well, Rob, you know me. I loved Vivek. By the end, before he dropped out, I came out and I was like, you know what? Seeing more of him, I'm glad he's not getting the nomination this time. I want him to get more foreign experience with foreign policy and some stuff, and then I could see him running again in the future because I do really like Vivek.
Okay, I got some JD Vance trivia for you guys. Do you know what JD Vance's son's name is?
Well, I know there's a Vivek.
Coupe.
Vivek.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They went to law school together.
Yeah.
So yeah, they know each other. So I don't have any doubt.
2 daughters and a son.
Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to be in the cabinet, and I could totally see that ticket coming together in 2028.
That would be awesome.
Back to what's going on now in 2024.
How much money did Vivek give Vance for his firstborn son?
I don't know.
That's conspiracy.
We don't need to start any new conspiracies. Now, speaking of conspiracies, how about
I'm sure that was already a conspiracy.
So
does he even know yet?
With the coup to Biden, yeah. Okay, so around that, there's already been analysis done that the conversation with Kamala Harris was generated by AI. 98% probability it was generated by AI when you run it through an AI check.
I wish you could share whatever you see that. Where did that come from?
Here, I'll pull it up. Hold on.
For what? What are we talking about?
The phone call.
Which phone call are we talking about? I don't.
The one with Harris in the campaign.
Okay, I don't know. I have no idea what that is.
Oh, you've heard that where she says recording instead of call, or she's about to say recording.
Okay, I don't think I've heard it. Is it one
between
her and Biden?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she's with a bunch of the team, and she's trying to say, "We know you're there." We know you're there on the phone call. So she about says recording, but that's what you're talking about, right, Rob?
Yeah. Hold on, just a second. I'm gonna see if I can get this to play here.
They're saying that it was AI generated.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. So let's see.
Well, somebody took your little patooey and auto AI generated a skit for it? For Harris? I'm trying to give you credit here, Rob, for your idea there.
He's too focused on what he's doing. He needs an IT class.
In that what was it? The last podcast where he did the Patooey?
Yeah.
Harris. So he did that one skit with Harris and the Patooey.
Yeah.
And so
in the
an hour,
vacuum cleaner.
I think Rob said an hour later somebody took that and made an AI skit with AI generated skit with her doing
All right, here
exactly
we go, guys. Hold
that.
on. I'm going to share the screen.
But it was the right thing to do. I know it's hard because you poured your heart and soul into me.
Okay, let's just go on old 11 Labs and see if that's really all they probably used for this. So, upload. There we go. And let's see what we got. Yeah, looks like they didn't even really try.
I know yesterday's news was surprising and it was hard for you to hear, but it was the right.
All right. So could you guys hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Yeah. So 98% probability that was AI generated.
Nice.
Who posted that?
I forget who the original was because now it's been reshared. So I'm sure I got a reshare, not the original.
So it's the equivalent of the Bigfoot video.
11 let's see. Yeah, the 11 Labs is the tool that was used to analyze it. So yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah,
I don't know how I knew it.
So that's part one, okay. And then we've all seen like the body doubles for Biden, right?
I've seen the pictures you've sent me that trying to show the difference between the ears and stuff.
No. I mean like the live body double. Hold on. See if I can find it. Ah, here it is.
Hey, Joe! Oh, the cops don't Take a picture. Joe Biden. Robinette, is that you? Joe Biden. Hey, Joe! Are you the body double? I'm starting to double. Hey, Joe! Oh, the cops don't even want you. This is the one that you see on CNN, but where's the real Joe? Take a picture. Joe Biden. Robinette, is that you?
Damn.
Hey, you know that saying? You guys know that saying? You can't make this shit up.
Right?
That saying needs to just not exist anymore.
I think you've
you
shown
can
me before, but I know I can't see it right now because I'm driving, so I'm not looking at the. I don't even have the audio on or video.
Okay,
on,
so then
you just saw the.
I got one more.
But I think I've seen it before. I think Rob's shown me.
North Carolina.
Watch his neck.
He was a very conservative guy who was very, very.
Oh my gosh, that's a mask.
African American.
Holy cow.
Was that the one with the mask where he scrapes his neck? He scratches his neck. And
Yes,
you see the mask line.
He scratches his neck. Oh man.
So looks like a mask to me. Dude, I love my setup. Now anything you guys want me to pull up, I can just pull it up and share it. No problem.
So I have a question. What do you think is Kamala's actual chances of winning?
No, I think she has a fair shot because if anybody can cheat an election, the Democrats can. So
I mean, I tend to agree with Megyn Kelly that she doesn't think if it's fair. She doesn't think that she will pull any more men really away from Trump. I mean, after that shooting, the Trump are in his camp set. She won't pull enough women away because women just don't like her. And so I don't think she really
black men hate her.
She's so unliked. Yeah, black men hate her. She's not going to pull enough of the black women back, even though most black women are still in the Democrat bucket.
She can't campaign. She hasn't won one delegate in any. She was elevated into the position that she's in now, all because of older men.
What's his name? The one brown guy. What's his name?
Willie Brown. Willie Brown.
Brown. Yeah, Willie Brown, who was in San Francisco, that she had an affair with.
If you guys get a chance, you should go check out fucking the Daily Wire's. They have Scamala. It's basically Kamala's career from beginning until now.
So well, I mean, but they do such disservice to black women. I mean, honestly, I don't like Kamala, but how did she get her position? Biden said, "I'm going to get a black woman." So not even the best.
You weren't on that. The way she got that position was haktua.
Yes, I know. I'm just saying. And then even the Supreme Court justice that Biden put into office, I'm going to find a black woman to put in, not the best person, but just a black woman. It's like he does such disservice, even if they are good, to them just by saying I'm going to find a black woman.
And look, dude, that's a problem because black people celebrate that instead of being like, huh? Hey, that's some bullshit. Like what if there was another black woman that was qualified for that spot?
Was it Ketanji Brown? Is that the name of the Supreme Court justice?
Yep.
Jackson Brown.
So even at this point, if she was the best person ever to serve as a Supreme Court justice, and I have no idea because I don't like some of the stuff she's come up with, but even if she is, people are always going to be questioning it because she was put into position because she's black and she's a woman. If he had just said, I'm going to find the best person I can find for the position, then it would have been
the black person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Just, why do you have to say, I'm going to find a black woman or
a black woman
race or anything? Just say, I'm going to find the best person, then choose whoever you want, whether that's, a black woman or white woman. I don't care. But that's the thing about conservatives. We don't look at the color. We just want the best person for the
I just thought of something completely crazy, guys. This isn't the first time in this freaking administration that we've seen a coup d'etat. Yeah. You guys remember who did Ketanji Brown Jackson replace and why? Because he was forced to retire.
Gorsuch.
Yes.
Wasn't it Neil Gorsuch?
Was it? I think so. I don't know. But either way, they forced him to retire so that they could put her in, so that they could gain favor with the extreme left. No.
Yeah.
No, I'm just. Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what's happening right now.
Stephen Breyer.
Right. Okay. Oh, you were just pulling it up.
Yeah, they replaced her with Stephen Breyer, or replaced Stephen Breyer with her.
Yeah, and they forced him out. They forced him to retire so that they could get her in there. And now look, they forced Biden out so that they could get Kamala in there. Another DEI hire.
Right.
And not even elected by the people. The people who wanted Biden as their nominee voted for him to be their nominee, and now he's backing out. Like, I mean, I would feel cheated if I was the Democrats.
Well, what I think was funny is like somebody had reported that Biden was informed 3 weeks from the debate to pull out, or it was going to get ugly, and they were already ratcheting up the heat on him. And then right before that 3-week window, he bails out. So when you force out the person that was elected democratically for something, with diplomatic pressure, so you can install somebody that nobody voted for. What's that called again? Oh yeah, a coup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I want to make sure that we use the right terms here. We don't want to do shit like Democrats who, call rowdy protesters an insurrection, even though an insurrection by definition requires arms, and none of them were armed. So, but you know, I don't want to be them.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what irritated the crap out of me about yesterday's hearings? Democrats trying to make it about the rifle.
Oh yeah, and then they can't believe that conservatives aren't making it about the rifle when it was our leader who was actually shot at. It's like
because we're not
hypocrites. Because we're not hypocrites. We believe in gun rights and the right to have guns. Just because you take a shot at one of our guys doesn't mean we're going to change that and all of a sudden hate guns.
Well, and the reality is
the gun didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
The reality is the reason we have guns in this country is to defend ourselves against a tyrannical government. And I have no doubt in my mind, with Democrats controlling almost every bureaucracy, the full-on fascist state of the fascist states of America would be in full effect within a month if they were able to get everybody's guns.
Yeah.
And I know this sounds really cliche, and maybe you guys have heard it 1,000 times before, but the idea that in order to take on the government, you need F-16s and you need missiles and shit. It's complete BS. Just ask the Vietnam who defeated us with a fucking hose and fucking sandals, okay? Not to mention the Afghanistan and Iraq.
A lot of Kalashnikov rifles.
Or Ukraine.
Yeah, they didn't have
against Russia.
Homemade mortar rounds.
Yeah.
So, well, no, okay. I got a little more recent evidence here. Okay. Yeah, they pretty much annihilated most of Ukraine's defenses in the first 24 hours of the Russian invasion.
That's
Ukraine held back the Russian invasion with small arms.
Yeah. So I mean, the idea that you
barely, Brian. Go ahead.
Because that's what I said. Well, that's what I said was Ukraine is a perfect example of small arms being held back, a massive military like Russia. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Rob. That's what I was saying was Ukraine and Russia is the perfect example of you don't need F-16s.
I think we all agree.
And all this. Yeah.
And then another 20-year example, Afghanistan, small arms and improvised explosive devices.
And now they're the number one arms dealers in the world. Now they're the number one arms dealer.
Well, yeah, that's because we gave them all the weapons.
Yeah, I know.
You know, we should do it. We should do a whole show on wasted government money, including like billions of dollars left for them, millions of dollars worth of guns that the Obama administration ran into Mexico, like the supposedly $1,000 for a toilet seat, shit like that. We could like talk.
Let's talk about their accountants. Like, oh, we messed up and said that the value of these weapons that we sent over there was actually way more than it was. So, oh, look, we have more money to send over there.
Yeah.
But I bet you when it comes to you and me paying fucking taxes, they're going to get right on that, right?
Yeah.
Who audits the IRS for me?
Who audits the auditors?
I just pulled up to the pilot. I'm going to run in, take a restroom break, and I'm going to mute my mics and leave it in the truck. So if you guys are still on when I get back, I'll jump back on.
All right. Yeah, we only got about 15 more minutes left. So
yeah. So I'll still it'll show I'm still sitting here, but I'm just going to leave the mic in the truck here. So
all right.
I'll be back.
Shoot me a text when you get back, and I'll turn your camera back on.
My camera? It's been
well,
off the
your
whole time,
your feed. I'll turn your feed back on.
Yeah.
All right. So, congratulations, Brian. You just told the whole country that you're taking a piss right now.
Yep. All 7 of them.
7 of them there and 11 others on other platforms.
So we got 18 people watching right now. That's awesome.
We got 18 people watching live. And like I don't know. Have you looked at our growing audience?
I haven't.
Our podcast from a couple days ago were over 200.
What? Well, it does help when you got someone as good looking as me on that screen there.
So yeah, I don't know, guys. For the audience, I'm not sure. He is a veteran. He might have had a head injury. I don't know.
Oh no, anyway, not a head injury. I'm confident.
So for the last 10 minutes, so you wanted to talk about the Constitution and originalism. I like this topic because it seems to be interesting what they want to do with the Supreme Court on the Democrat side because of their problems with conservative judges. So I have to make the first point on that. A conservative
wait. Hold on a second. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is the two types of belief systems on how we should interpret the Constitution, how the Constitution should be interpreted. There's the originalist thought who we'll get into what they believe, and then there's the non-originalist, and we'll get into what they believe. That way, what Rob is going to talk about will make a little bit more sense to you.
Okay. So conservatives generally are either originalist or textualist. So they're going with the original ideas behind it. If the text isn't clear, they try and take on the original perspective of the framers of the Constitution. But whenever possible, they're textualists and they want to apply the exact wording of the Constitution. And a good example for that was actually the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Now, liberals get really pissed off about that one, but even Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Saint Ginsburg, said that it was a bad decision and that it was
it needed to be relitigated. Yeah.
So, and
here, let me read what this book says about originalism and non-originalism. That way, because what you're saying is almost exactly what I read in here. So this book that I'm reading from is the U.S. Constitution and other writings. It's got the Constitution in it, the Bill of Rights, Lincoln's first inaugural address. It's just got a bunch of important writings from history. And so I'm going to read from you right now, originalism. The originalist school of thought holds that we must consider the original intent of the framers of the Constitution when determining if a law is constitutional or not. As the legal scholar and Supreme Court nominee Robert Bork put it, if the Constitution is law, then presumably its meaning, like that of all other law, is the meaning the lawmakers were understood to have intended. This means, of course, that a judge may never create new constitutional rights or destroy old ones. Anytime he does so, he violates not only the limits to his own authority, but also violates the rights of the legislature and the people. There are several thorny questions associated with this philosophy. First, it assumes that we can truly understand the often unclear intent of the framers of the Constitution. Also, we encounter many situations not anticipated by the framers. For example, we can look at the Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, comma, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. There are various debates around the meaning of the Second Amendment, including the protocol of the well-regulated militia, but let us accept for a moment that the amendment allows private citizens to own the sorts of weapons used by a militia, that is, the armed forces. This was the understanding of Supreme Court Justice and originalist Antonin Scalia when he wrote the majority opinion upholding the constitutional right to private firearms ownership in District of Columbia versus Heller, in which he stated, the Anti-Federalists feared that the federal government would disarm the people in order to disable the citizens' militia, enabling a politicized standing army or a select militia to rule. The response was to not deny Congress power to abridge the ancient right of individuals to keep and bear arms, so that the ideal of citizens' militia would be preserved. In this opinion, Scalia was making, in essence, a historical argument. The Founding Fathers' intention was to preserve the ancient right to own weapons as long understood in English civil law and to enable the common people to defend themselves against tyranny. This principle, however foreign it might be to our modern world, should guide how courts understand and apply the law. If people of the United States working through their government decide that this goal was outdated and no longer relevant, to the modern world, then the Constitution should be amended. From this perspective, originalists are doing no more than holding the law to what is written in the Constitution, the rule book that constitutes the highest law in the land. And that's originalism. Non-originalism.
Which is it? But hold on, before you go on, that is literally in the description of the Supreme Court. Their job is to apply the Constitution to cases that come before them.
Okay, as written. Okay, so the non-originalist school of thought, also sometimes called the living constitution approach, is rooted in the English legal tradition, which has long given judges the ability to expand and comment on the law. Conversely, in most European countries, the law is statutory and judges may only apply, not interpret the law. Non-originalism allows for considerably more leeway in interpreting the Constitution than does an originalist perspective. Take again the example of gun control. Modern firearms are far more efficient killing implements than Revolutionary War era muskets. They are less expensive, more readily available, more accurate, and have far higher ammunition capacity and rates of fire. Likewise, does the definition of arms include other personal weapons unimaginable to the founders, such as stun guns, switchblade knives, sawed-off shotguns, pistols that can be hidden from metal detectors, machine guns, or portable surface-to-air missiles? Non-originalists, then, might argue that society has a pressing need to pass laws to restrict the right to keep and bear arms. To these objections, an originalist might reply that the framers gave us the ability to amend the law through legal process as times change. If we wanted to limit weapons ownership, we should therefore change the Constitution. A non-originalist would argue that this is a lengthy process in which it is difficult to achieve consensus. Interpreting the Constitution allows us to adopt in a more flexible manner. Against this, originalists argue that non-originalism makes the law arbitrary, subject to the whims of each generation, and diminishes the power of the Constitution as a binding contract. They accuse judges of being activists, shaping society according to their own views, which erodes respect for the judiciary. Proponents of the society solely on how people 250 years ago understood the world. Non-originalism has been of immense importance in expanding civil rights. For instance, the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment states, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. This protection, historically instituted to counteract Reconstruction-era black codes in southern states, has been widely interpreted. It formed the basis for Plessy versus Ferguson, which, contrary to the amendment's intent, established the doctrine of separate but equal that allowed for segregation. However, it also formed the basis for Brown versus Board of Education, which ended separate but equal in the context of school desegregation. Loving versus Virginia, 1967, which ended that state's ban on interracial marriage. Roe v. Wade, 1973, which said that denying women access to abortion violated due process. And Obergefell versus Hodges, 2015, which said that the right to marry is a fundamental right of same-sex couples. Other examples of the expansion of rights include Griswold versus Connecticut, 1965, in which the Supreme Court expanded the meaning of the Fourth and Fifth Amendments to grant married couples access to birth control. This decision virtually created what we now think of as the inviolable right to privacy, which in turn informed decisions such as Lawrence versus Texas, 2003, which said that the states could not make homosexual acts between consenting adults illegal. The Obergefell versus Hodges decision illustrates how such changes in reinterpretations are rooted in historical circumstance, while originalists such as Antonin Scalia, in his dissenting opinion in the case, say that there is no inherent right to same-sex marriage. The idea that people in such relationships deserve the equal protection of this social institution is part of a wider redefinition of marriage and romantic relationships in the context of the post-industrial economy and the sexual revolution. It also reflects a changing popular and scientific understanding of same-sex attraction as an inherent part of a person's makeup rather than a sin or a vice. There is indeed nothing in the Constitution on same-sex marriage, but to many Americans it seems obvious that the promise of liberty includes the right to marry the person of one's choice. I think this was written by a liberal.
Yeah, I don't know. What I do know is they make it clear in their whole position that the framers made it intentionally difficult to change the population or to change
the Constitution.
Yeah, it was intended to require a broad consensus because democracy is dangerous. It's not hard to get 50% of people to go along with something. It's hard to get 60 to 70% to go along with something, which is why that's the requirement. And then different states have different interests. So you have to be able to get 66% of the states to sign on to an amendment after you get 66% of the House and the Senate to vote on it.
Right.
Like that's very, very intentional. 2/3 is more than just mob rule. That's the majority, like pretty much like a super majority of people agree, and that's intentional.
Right.
But it's
so that the mob doesn't, so that you're not taking the rights of other people.
Yeah, which is why
that's what the Constitution.
Yeah, it's why it took so long to pass the 14th Amendment too.
Right. And then they just go and judges decide that they're going to change the meaning of the 4th and 5th Amendment. That's kind of weird.
So, but with that understanding, they could also use it to change the meaning of the 14th Amendment and begin curtailing certain groups' rights again. And of course, the way the Democrats do it, they do it in the name of some other group. So that's just the way it is. So anyways, before we wrap up here, guys, I did manage to do a little something so you guys can get a better look at them here. If you go to the warmongershop.store, the gear that's specific to this podcast, we got our t-shirt here. Or no, this is the jersey. It's a basketball jersey. We got the wall tapestry. It can cover your whole wall. I mean, I don't know if anybody can handle like somebody this good looking in there, but you know, hey.
Nope, but hey, even better is the guy in the middle.
And then of course here we just got the regular t-shirt if that's more your style. And
where'd you find her?
Convicted and still standing. So there it is. So that's our gear that we've got on here. I do have more coming because there was a lot of other designs that I had that I just never got a chance to get them on the store. And now I'm going to be able to get them on a store. So check out our shop. It helps us out. I mean, we are starting to get monetized in different places.
You need to make another shirt with that on it that says fight, fight, fight.
That will do. Or I'll just make a shirt that just says fight, fight, fight.
There you go.
I don't think we even need the picture for that to be clear what that means. So do fight, fight, fight.
We need it.
OTRRVL on the back.
We need a picture of his ear with that chunk missing. And then just have like, you know,
well,
have that as a silhouette on the shirt, right? And then put like, can you hear me now?
Dude, you're not. So anyway, so yeah, if you guys are able to, you know, make sure to swing by,
like, share, subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe, especially subscribe. Like, we really need to get the subscribers up. Most of the platforms, monetization is also dependent on your subscribers. So, because subscribing helps us out, so we can get that monetization. They're going to show you the commercials anyways. If you subscribe, it helps us get a piece. Anyway,
yeah, and then I can get freaking a better computer and setup.
Yeah, then we can get these other two into the modern age of computers too. Anyway,
yeah, and I can give you guys stories of an idiot hiker.
Right? Oh yeah, and I'm ready for it. See, I got this layout for that whenever we do it.
Nice.
So anytime we do that segment, all I got to do is push a button. We're ready for you, Brad. So, did you have any final thoughts before we sign off here?
I don't actually. You guys don't think that this election is going to be easy.
You got muffled.
Can you hear me now?
No, you got muffled like your microphone cut out.
Oh, there you go. Let me see what happened.
You're good.
All right. Okay. Guys, this election isn't going to be easy. We still need to get out there. Don't think that Kamala is just going to be a walk in the park. They're going to do something. So keep fighting. Stay in it. Do whatever you can. Make sure you get out and vote.
Volunteer. Vote. Donate. Put up signs. Anything you can do. We cannot take a fourth Obama term. It will destroy our country.
Kamala Harris just raised a buttload of money, and she's got all of Biden's coffers. So
we're gonna talk about dirty Democrat fundraising next show. But yeah, we'll talk about that next show. But yeah, definitely be active, be proactive. Don't take your eye off the ball, because we already know they will. They'll steal it if they can. Anyway,
yes, they will.
Have a great night. Be safe, America. Stay tuned.